Joining us now is one of the most astute economists that I know. His name is Alexander Green. You know him because we have an association with the Oxford Club, and that's where he works. They are a paid sponsor for the No Spin News, and I have been with them for 3 decades myself, and they didn't know me. I think they thought I was O'Reilly Auto Parts when I bought my first subscription. But I stay with them because they made me some money. And now it's a pretty good stock picker, but it's a tough game now, as you know. So Alex, you got a book out. I want everybody to look at it. It's called The American Dream, Why It's Still Alive and How to Achieve It. The American Dream, Why It's Still Alive and How to Achieve It. But here in New York City, they just elected a communist mayor, and most of the people who voted for the communist mayor are under 40 years old, and they don't believe in the American dream any longer. Why has that happened?
Well, it's a good question, Bill. I wrote the book. I started a year ago when I read the polls that showed 2/3 of Americans no longer believe the American dream is attainable. And since then, it's gotten even worse. Now, 70% of Americans don't believe that the American dream is achievable. And a lot of it has to do with what you mentioned, the negativity, relentless negativity of the mainstream media, and of course, the what social media is even worse. And what they're doing with Mamdani is they seem to believe that the American dream is not an achievement, but some kind of an entitlement that you can go to the government office and pick up your American dream. It doesn't work that way. And the funny thing is, Bill, when I was a kid, everything was free. The meals were free, my toys were free, the parties were free. And all that meant was that somebody else was paying for it. Nothing is free. And when Mamdani offers all this free stuff, free education, free healthcare, free childcare, he's really just saying that somebody else is going to pay for it. And I think a lot of young people who struggle, I struggled when I was young, I'm sure you did too, they want someone to help them out. But the politicians are not the answer to your problems. You live the American dream by working, living within your means, saving regularly, investing those savings at higher levels of return, and then letting it compound over a period of time. And that's how you afford to live the life of your dreams.
Yeah, but that's not taught in public schools.
No, it's not. It's not
And
taught. In
yeah,
fact,
so if you go through the public school system, you are never going to hear how to achieve the so-called American dream. There are no classes on it. They don't. Most of the teachers don't even believe it. And then if you
no.
come home and your parents are, not doing very well, struggling, then you get cynical and say this whole system is fixed for the rich. This is what Bernie Sanders peddles. Right. And I can't succeed. Yeah. How do you persuade people who believe that they are wrong?
But you begin by telling them the truth. When they're taught in school, especially in college, that capitalism, free markets is all about greed and selfishness and exploitation, all it takes is 1 minute of plain talk to dispel these notions.
Well, who's going to do that, though? You see that?
Well,
it's a trap.
I try to.
I know you do, and I do, and there are voices that are saying this is what it is. But they seem to be outnumbered, Alex, by the people, particularly the teachers' unions,
right,
that are so far left. They're telling the urchins, hey, we got to go socialism because the capitalists are greedy and look at this, that, and the other thing. I don't know how to overcome that.
Yeah, well, it starts with realizing that socialism has been tried multiple times. It's never worked anywhere, any place, at any time. Capitalism means, all it means is you can have anything you want if you just provide enough other people what they want. That's why every time you walk into a store, you hear, "How may I help you?" And when they leave, you hear 2 thank yous. You say thank you because you want the merchandise more than the money. The merchant says thank you because they want the money more than the merchandise. And really, the capitalist system is the greatest anti-poverty program and wealth creator of all time. And you talk about what the media reports. What they don't report is we live in the most meritocratic nation on earth. at the greatest time in history to be alive. The human lifespan has more than doubled in the last 100 years. Our standards of living have never been higher. Educational attainment in this country has never been greater. More people with a high school diploma, college diploma, advanced degrees. Air and water quality has been improving for decades. The U.S. household income and net worth is at all-time record highs. The stock market is at a record high. How, if the economy is terrible, is the stock market at an all-time high? Is everybody just delusional except Democrats who are running for office
Well, I
and
mean,
media?
it's a look ahead, though, on some of them with AI coming in and Bitcoin and all of this. So the stock market, I don't think is a real good indicator of how people live day to day. I do think it's an elevator to wealth, but boy, you got to be careful on that. So the American dream to me, and I don't know if it coincides, I'm halfway through your book with you, is independence.
Right.
And you're right. When I got out of Boston University with a master's degree in broadcast journalism, I had zero money, nothing. I had to borrow to put gas in my car to drive from Boston to Scranton, Pennsylvania, where I got a job that paid me barely minimum wage. But I was happy to be able to start, and I worked my way up. It took me 10 years to buy my first property, which was a condominium by Giant Stadium in New Jersey. But I saved for it. I wasn't looking for somebody to give me rent control or this or that. I just saved my money. And then I was successful in my career. I worked extremely hard, as you know, and you did the same, and then built up where I can live very comfortably and protect myself from the evils of the world because I have resources. That's the American dream to me. Am I missing something?
No, that's exactly the American dream. And I think a lot of these young people, Bill, they can't do exactly what they want, and so they don't work. When I was young, I thought, not what do I want to do, but who needs something done that I might be able to do for them. It's about putting yourself in service to other people's, other companies. And eventually you gain the skills to do the kind of jobs you want and earn the kind of income you want and live the kind of life you want. But when you're starting out, the idea of following your dreams initially, no, you need experience, you need job skills, to get ahead, you have to have those things in order to live the kind of life you want to live. So I started the same way, Bill. No money, no great skills, no connections, no great prospects, but I always believed that I would somehow achieve the American dream, and that's what's so tragic about this 70% figure. Don't even believe it's attainable. I've never wasted a minute working toward any goal I didn't believe was realistic. And so when these kids, and it is mostly kids who are the most pessimistic, these young people are so pessimistic about their outlook, it really is it's self-defeating, because if you don't believe that the American dream even exists, why would you strive to achieve it?
American homeowners, the FBI has been warning all of us about a type of real estate fraud called title theft. The target, your equity. With just a forged signature, ownership can be transferred out of your name, and without protection in place, you are facing an emotional and financial nightmare. That's why I partner up with Home Title Lock. You can find out today if you are already a victim and protect yourself. Use promo code BILL at HometitleLock.com to get a free title history report, plus a free trial of their $1 million triple lock protection. That's 24/7 monitoring, urgent alerts, and if you are a victim of fraud, they will spend up to $1 million to fix it. Don't be a victim. Protect your equity today. That's HometitleLock.com, promo code BILL, or use the link below. That's HometitleLock.com, promo code BILL. The advantage that you and I had, and I'm a little bit older than you, is that our parents were the Depression as children, and then World War II, where sacrifice and deprivation and realistic expectations, that's the key, were what was taught. So they didn't have this, well, how come I don't have a boat? How come I don't have a Mercedes? How come I'm not living in Park Avenue? I'm living in Levittown, and my parents are satisfied with Levittown. okay? Because they were scared there'd be another 1929 stock crash. So they didn't take a lot of chances. Now, that was the downside of the expectations that were minimal, all right? That's where we grew up. Now, a lot of parents cater to these kids. They get everything they want, as you pointed out, free everything, and they're coddled. And then all of a sudden they're out in the real world going, where's my $250,000 job?
Right.
Because they weren't taught that you got to sacrifice, you got to work hard. It takes a while. That's what the system is. I think that's the key to it.
Well, they're comparing themselves to people on social media. They're looking at highlight reels of other people's lives and not realizing that their own situations are going to change. The difference between my net worth in my 20s and my net worth today is night and day. There's huge economic inequality between me in my 20s and me today. And that's the norm. You work, you save, you invest, you compound the money instead of spending it along the way, and you end up with the kind of net worth that can allow you to have the assets to live the life that you dreamed of living.
But it's got to be a strategy. And again, that strategy is not taught enough. Last question, because you are a stock picker. I'm a little worried about this market now because it's all-time high. And you got all the speculative money coming in with the AI stuff. All these companies are roaring. I've seen it before. And I got stops at your, stop is I put on a stock that has profit for me, 20%, something like that down. And automatically, when the stock goes down, it hits it, it sells. So I'm protected in that way. But I'm not buying right now, Alex. I'm cautious. Am I wrong?
You're not wrong, Bill, but by every objective measure, the market is very expensive right now. The S&P 500 sells at about 24 times earnings versus a long-term 16 times earnings. There is kind of an AI craze going on. Some companies are going to prosper, other companies are going to fail. And there's the craziness in meme stocks and crypto and whatever shows that a lot of animal spirits are on the loose. And it's inevitable. We will have a correction and another bear market at some point. And it's okay if you've diversified and you're asset allocated and you run trailing stops, as you mentioned, you're protected. But trees don't grow to the sky, and the stock market's not going to continue going up like it has been forever. So we've enjoyed some big gains this year, but I think it's going to get choppier and a little tougher going forward.
All right, Alex. The book is The American Dream, Why It's Still Alive and How to Achieve It. Alex Green, you can get it anywhere. And we appreciate it, Alex. We'll talk again soon. And if you get any inkling of something that you don't like in the economic system, let us know right away, okay?
I'll give you a call. Thanks for having me on again.
Okay, Alex, sure.